Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck. My name is Chuck Guglielmo, a weekly interview show where we talk with interesting people around the community. And today we are taping the show on Tuesday, February 13th. And my guest today is Conneaut Area City School Superintendent Lori Riley, no stranger to Around the Town with Chuck. How are you today?
I'm glad to be back. I'm good. How are you?
Glad to have you.
Happy Fat Tuesday.
Yes, yes. Although every day is kind of like that for me. So, Lori, now about a year and a half in here in Conneaut, what are your thoughts?
I'm enjoying year two because nothing's new. So, everything that was happening last year was the first for me. So this year, we're settling into routines and just kind of improving on what I observed in year one. So I think I'm very happy with the direction that collectively the district and the community is moving forward in.
So coming into year two, I'm sure you had some goals or some things you wanted to add or maybe even delete. How's that been working out?
Good. As a district, we have three goals: academics, climate, and leadership. And so our administrators are going through some coaching and professional development training in the leadership realm. As are four of the other administrators, including myself, we get some coaching. We don't get the professional development part of it. We've focused on some academic goals. We just did a curriculum audit with Ashland University, so we're using that data to help us purchase materials that we may need or resources. We didn't want to buy anything until we knew where the gaps were. So now we've identified some of those gaps and we can start looking at some curriculum resources. And then for climate, we're doing some social justice and social equity training, some positive behavior training. So anywhere we go, we talk about those three goals and we're focused on making sure that we're spending our time and resources and money and energy just around those three goals and kind of taking everything else off our plates.
Of course, Lori, you're very active around the community. I think everybody knows that by now. If they don't know that, I don't know where they've been. But you are all over the place, and you excel in all those areas as well.
Well, thank you.
How do you do it? How do you keep up the pace?
I like that no 2 days are different. I mean, no 2 days are the same. I like that every day is different. It's prioritizing. It's making sure that my personal life gets some attention, but my personal life, my family understands that this is very important to me. It's scheduling, making sure that I try to get to at least 2 athletic events per season, some more, but no less. So tonight's my second wrestling match because I don't understand wrestling.
Yeah, you won't see me at a wrestling match.
But I was able to go last week when they wrestled Cathedral Prep, and tonight is our senior night. I was able to attend 3 or 4 swim meets to see our new Conneaut swimmers
How's
swim.
that working out?
It's working out well. We swim with Lakeside because we don't have enough for our own team. And they've been very supportive of our swimmers, but we're still swimming in Conneaut attire, which is nice for me to see. Students, for example, at St. John's, because they don't have a swim team, they have to swim in that home district's attire, but our kids are actually swimming in blue and gold. So we have 3 swimmers this year. So they did very well for our first year out, and I know they're trying to drum up some extra swimming support. But it's scheduling and it's prioritizing for me. But I like the challenge, and I like to be in as many things as I can. So.
Yeah, you were at the basketball game the other night. I was so happy for the boys.
Me
They worked
too. That
so
was a
hard.
great game, and it was my alma mater.
It was your alma mater. I was wondering what you thought.
You
brought up athletics.
Yeah. Well, so I don't. I had a great 4 years there. But again, it was in Pennsylvania. I'm from Ashtabula County, so it never felt like home. I spent 4th grade through 12th grade there. 9 through 12 at Mercier's Prep. So, I mean, I have, as any alum, a pride in my alma mater, and I'm hitting my 30th class reunion this year. But it's all love for the Spartans. Anytime we're on the court or in the field,
blue, gold,
I
and
am.
white.
Yes, I had my pants on Saturday, my gold pants.
Yes,
but not Friday.
Well, speaking of a girl who multitasks, I want to get this in so I don't forget. We were doing a football game last year. And you were all over the place at that football game. And I know you were sensing that I was frustrated because I didn't have my main spotter there. And I didn't even have my substitute spotter that night. And you were sensing frustration. So this girl takes over and you become my spotter. And sometimes you didn't even use the binoculars.
No, that was so much fun though. And see, and that's That's what I like. I had so much fun that game, and I will remember that game. But yeah, I could kind of tell, you're trying to do what you need to do, and you needed information from people. So I was just going to be another person to give you that information.
But you didn't stop there. Then you went and did something with the clock or the scoreboard. I saw you over there too. I don't know what you were doing there, but you did something.
My husband will say, "Can't you just sit down and watch TV?" I can't. I'm a multitasker at heart, so I have to be doing something. But it allows you to form those relationships with people in the community too.
Sure.
So although it's just, you really see what goes into operating a school district if you can kind of get your hands into everything. So.
But we got to talk about calamity days, because everybody wants to talk about that, because every year it comes up. Last year, I remember you saying your house or kitchen or something is like a computer station there. So you've had to use that quite a bit this year.
Yes. And
we got fooled one morning too, didn't we?
We did. We got fooled one morning. One morning, I wasn't quite sure if I made the right call. We didn't have school that day, and I came in and I had a meeting at the chamber, and they said no, it was the right call. They felt it was icy that morning.
Were you contemplating a 2-hour delay?
I was. I think 2-hour delays work well if you give parents enough notice. So when I called a 2-hour delay this year, it was the night before that I could call and let them know we were doing a 2-hour delay. As a working parent, to have to scramble in the morning and make adjustments for my child 2 hours, and then maybe we're not going to have school. And so I believe in 2-hour delays, but I also believe that you have to give parents a lot of notice as well. So we had a meeting a couple weeks ago as superintendents to kind of remind ourselves, parameters of what snow days are and aren't, and calamity days are and aren't. It's definitely getting the children's safety is number one importance. Staying outside for 5 minutes in 2 degrees above zero is not going to initiate frostbite. So, we've had to review a few things. I was with 2 other superintendents on Sunday, and we were discussing how hard the meteorologists on TV make it for us, because they want to predict, and they want to have
saying there's a 30% chance.
Right, and it's hard for us then to do our jobs, because sitting in Cleveland and sitting in Conneaut, the weather is very different, and we do say they make it difficult. But we appreciate the information that they give us. We've used 6 as a district, but Gateway and the middle school used 2 extra days because of the water problems that we had back in the fall. So they're actually at 8 days.
So how's that going to work now? Anybody have to make any?
As of now, no. The teachers are adding some time to their day to make up, especially for the imbalance. But as of now, no student time needs to be made up. We still have enough time on our calendars for that.
Now you say as of now, so what does it have to get up to in order to have to make them up?
We're probably the next one. We may have to start adding some time back. Last year we added time to the student day. But we're not at that situation yet. But we'll have to, you keep fingers crossed that we're done. And then, we've had some horrible marches. So we know we're not out of the woods until May 1st.
How do you sleep those nights?
Not well. It's up, you're watching the 11 o'clock news the night before to see what the latest prediction is. And then I'm usually up by 4 a.m. because that's when the news starts. We do get some weather briefings. We start about 4:30 as superintendents texting each other. This last snow day, we actually did a conference call with each other. So, and I'm usually restless over that nighttime period. That's why the day that took us by surprise, there were no warnings. There was no sense that it was going to be bad. And then I actually got a call from my kids' school that they were closed, and then that's when it alerted me it could be bad. So, sometimes it just hits you without warning.
Sure. Lori, let's move on to another topic that a lot of people are discussing, and that's the vacant building over there on Harbor Street, Harbor and Jackson. It's my understanding where we're at now is that it's kind of like on delay because we got new school board members and new city council members.
Right. Last Monday, I think it was the 5th, during the work session of City Council, they invited our new board members to come and hear the presentation, and 2 were able to attend. We have a joint City Council School Board meeting next Tuesday, the 20th. So we'll reconvene, but everything kind of did have to be tabled because of the new members on both sides. So, it's not my decision, it's not Jackie Miranda, our treasurer's decision, it's a board decision, and the board wants to be well informed before they make any kind of decision on either that property, on Southeast. We did do a board orientation and catch them up to speed on the other properties that we own as a district and our needs, but we have not had a discussion collectively about the direction that we're going to go or that the board feels they'd like to go for that yet.
How are the new board members fitting in so far?
Great. Chris Brecht and Penny Armini serve on Rotary with me. And Penny's on the chamber, so those relationships were formed. I'm getting to know Chris Bartone. Did not know him before he started. We've had organizational meeting and a regular meeting so far, but I think they're in line with our vision and the direction that we want to go, and supportive of the work that we're doing as a district. So I think good things continue to happen for Conneaut schools.
Very good. Financially, how are the schools right now?
Jackie and I just spoke to Rotary, and she gave a financial update. We were very grateful to pass that levy last year. So financially, we've tightened our belts and we're not overspending by any means. This time of year, you're always looking at overtime for custodians and maintenance for snow removal. Operationally, you tend to spend a little more money when you have these calamity days because you bring people in to do snow removal. So we're watching our spending, but it's certainly something that Jackie keeps me in line, to remind ourselves that while we pass the levy and while we are doing okay in the forecast, we've got to continue to watch to make sure we don't start overspending again. So we do discuss any big purchase or any little purchase really before we move forward.
Every time I talk to you, you mentioned Jackie's name, and I keep wanting to get her on the show, and I keep forgetting
we'll
about
bring her
getting
on
Jackie.
next time.
Next time I have you come on.
Because it would be
gotta
nice
bring her.
actually, maybe at the end of our 2 years together to, we could compare our first 2 years. And, but she will come on if she's with me. She doesn't like to do a lot of, she's the one behind the calculator, she'll say.
The RIF list, how's that looking right now?
We still have 4 teachers on the reduction in force list. So that's a 36-month process. So there's no new hires until we are able to bring those people back. So if we would have retirements this year, or if people would leave, we move our staff around in order to bring those people back. So we still have 4 people. 2 are working in hourly positions for us, and 2 are still completely off the RIF list. Not working for us right now.
Mm-hmm. Another thing to discuss, Lori, because it's always a big topic, is of course the state testing and the report card. As of right now, what is that looking like compared to, say, last year or 2 years ago?
Well, we saw some gains, not great gains. So
on any particular level?
Our math at the gateway level was doing a little bit better. Our 5th grade struggled, but that's why we've kept our focused goals so that we can continue to only spend our time and energy on those. So we've diversified our training for our teachers so that we're sending people out to come back and bring information back. The performance audit from Ashland that we did shows some gaps. And so now we have those conversations with our teachers. Why are there gaps in these areas? What do we need to do to help you support those areas to bring it up? So conversations around curriculum and where we need to go forward, and the way we assess our students as well. So when we test students on the state test, are we testing them the same way in our classrooms so that they're used to that type of testing? Mm-hmm. So we're working on all of that right now with our district leadership team.
Do you find most of the schools in Ashtabula County kind of in a similar position?
Oh yes, we have the breakdown by district for the county, and there were a few areas where we were leading the pack. So we're proud of that, but when it comes down to a letter grade, you're still not proud if it's a D or a C, no matter. That C might be better than everybody else in the county, but it's still a C, and our kids deserve better. So we want to see those letter grades improve. Mm-hmm.
School enrollment. Mm-hmm. I see they did a little conference shakeup in the District 10 because of enrollment. How much have we dropped?
We're holding pretty steady at about 1,700, so about where we were last year.
Does that
They
count
were
ATEC?
using, yeah, that does count ATEC. It counts ATEC, it counts all of our students in other county programs. It's our entire student population, no, not necessarily physically in the seats in our buildings. But they were using inflated numbers from, I think Joel said 2 years ago. So we were able to give them an updated list, and they took that list, which did shake up the football conference a little bit. Overall, for the conferences, we were pleased with most of the divisions that we were put in. But in Pennsylvania, you don't necessarily play the same teams in all the sports. So, wrestling.
Yeah, that's uncanny,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. I mean, we really wanted to keep it, those schools that are slightly north or south of I-90. And wrestling is way out of that kind of corridor, as is girls soccer. So we weren't real happy with that. But overall, we're in the league. It helps with scheduling that we're not independent all the time. Because they change every 2 years, and we're constantly going to have to change. So I just had a good conversation at Athletic Council about it. But again, pleased that we have this league to belong to, but we can still compete. Like our swimmers swam in the Ohio division for sectionals, so it kind of fills the holes for both sides for right now.
Talking with Lori Riley, Conneaut Area City School Superintendent here on Around the Town with Chuck. Lori, staying on the topic of enrollment. Last year when I talked to you, we talked about, open enrollment. Open enrollment. You said there were pros and cons to that. We were about even last year. How are we looking this year?
We still are. We're about 50 to 60 students, give or take, in or out. So financially, it's almost a wash. A couple things that are happening in the news. One is the ECOT closing. So students that were ECOT students were not on the Conneaut books. They were enrolled as ECOT students. With ECOT closing, we have an opportunity to bring those students back in, enroll them as Conneaut students, and we have done that. Some of them are actually attending our physical brick and mortar buildings, and then some are attending the Ashtabula County ESC's Virtual Learning Academy, which would be an ECOT, it's an online program, but they're Conneaut students. So now they're back on our books, back on our rolls, but they're able to take all their classes online through the ESC, but they will graduate as Conneaut students, not as ECOT students or other online programs. So we've reached out to them to bring them back to Conneaut. So that will help with enrollment, because the state of Ohio now funds you every child every day. So once those students re-enrolled, we started generating funding for them from the day that they enrolled back from ECOT. So that should help our enrollment a little bit.
Lakeshore Primary. Does that building host the most students?
I believe it's Gateway.
Oh, Gateway, grades 3 through 5.
That's the most right now.
Now that's a little surprising.
I guess if you look pre-K to 12, then yes, it would be Lakeshore. Because they have, we have half-day preschool and we have Head Start. So the physical number of students coming in and out is definitely at Lakeshore, because we have the preschool plus the Head Start program there.
And which building would you say has the least?
The middle school, slightly less than the high school.
Okay. Was that the middle school? About a
I didn't
week
see
ago.
you, I missed you.
I saw your curriculum director, Chrissy Mucci. I couldn't think of her first name there. I have to say, and it's not homerism on my part, but those students were well behaved. This is talking about career day that we had. Great responses. They participated, well mannered. I couldn't be more proud of the students there at the Conneaut Middle School. Is that something that's good for the schools that bring in these career days?
Oh, sure, absolutely, and that's the direction that the state of Ohio Department of Education wants us to. They want career exploration as young as kindergarten. And so,
Really?
yes. So Stacy Zappatelli and Denise Miller from ATEC.
They do great
work,
jobs.
They do a phenomenal job. And they work with every building. So they work with Lakeshore primary teachers, just, which books talk about careers and how can they'll bring in a policeman or a fireman, and they have, they'll read to the kids. And so you start career exploration much younger. Gateway, they bring the vehicles in and they talk about careers on wheels. And then you have the career day at the middle school. This week they're doing interviews at Conneaut High School, teaching kids how to interview for jobs and how to do a resume, how to present yourself. So they do a great job connecting careers K to 12, because it is important. My mom saved a biography that I had written in 4th grade that said I wanted to be a teacher, a principal, or a computer analyst. So I think back, I was a teacher, then I became a principal, and I married a computer analyst. So I was pretty
Why am I not surprised?
But, to think like at age 9, I was thinking about careers then too. And the same with careers, the other is college exploration. And Dr. Emily Dobrin is our representative from Access, and she meets with our juniors and seniors to talk about college options and scholarships and college visits. And because for some kids, they're first generation college students potentially, and we want to be able to support them if that's the path that they choose also. So it takes a village. We can do the academic piece, but we are grateful to have ATEC and the career program and Access and the college program in at the high school as well. So, and bringing community people in so they could see, these are the jobs that people have, and these are options for you. Sometimes you don't even think about other options.
I was just so proud of them. Sometimes these kids they always get a bad rap, but
you know what?
I did not see that at all.
I will say that in any building, a lot of times if the principals are out of professional development and I have a fairly clear calendar, I'll go and spend the day working out of their building, so there's an administrative presence. So last Monday I was at Lakeshore for the day. One day I was standing in the cafeteria at the high school, and we've got great kids here. You go into a high school cafeteria and they're quiet and they're well behaved, and they always say it's because I'm there on a Monday and they're tired. So I'll have to mix it up. But I just, no matter where I am in public, walking in here today, we just have great kids here. We're very fortunate.
One of the better senior classes too.
Yes. Oh yes.
Really a great senior class. Lori, we'll close with this. You're still running the maintenance department?
Yes.
Basically?
They haven't taught me how to snowplow yet. I want to learn how to use a snowplow.
Well, what I was going to ask you, the maintenance equipment and stuff, is that something you would store at that vacant lot we were talking about? Right now it's where at the old Southeast School, right?
Right. So, the original conversation with the city was that our bus garage and our maintenance department would go into that
Vacant
static
lot.
building. Right.
Okay, and the equipment itself?
Is at Southeast right now.
Is at
in
Southeast.
the garage. Snow blowers. They'll store them in there, and then they deliver them to the buildings for the winter time, and then they bring them back. But that's our maintenance building is Southeast. Okay. So we have 2 people housed there.
Okay. Well, you got Parents' Night tonight for wrestling.
Yes.
Next Tuesday, then you got Parents' Night for the boys' basketball team.
Yes.
So we'll be seeing a lot of you.
Yeah. Well, and then conferences are
Friday?
Thursday night and Friday morning.
You're back to the evening day thing?
Yes. In the spring, we can do an evening day. It's harder in the fall because our semester is less days in the fall, so we don't.
What do you find working better, the 2 evenings or the evening day?
Well, I surveyed the teachers to see, because this year we even broke up the conferences even more. So the high school and junior high had a set of conferences after the first 9 weeks, in the second 9 weeks, and then everybody does it in the third 9 weeks. And they did like it spread out, because if you're just teaching a semester class and you wait till November to have conferences, you really can't reach some of those parents. Sure. and the semester's almost over. So I said, let's try this. And it was very well received.
And those are open, right?
Right, those are
the
open.
grade schools by appointment?
Because of their teachers, mm-hmm. But you just go. So we're talking about doing something similar last year. And the other thing, because we have such a large number of staff who are parents, by breaking them out, they can go to their own children's conferences because it's not on the same night. So if they're a Gateway
yeah.
or Lakeshore teacher, and I'm not having everybody have conferences the same night, they can go to their own child's conferences as well.
That's wonderful.
So it worked. It was very positive, the feedback we got back by trying something new. So.
Yeah. Well, Laura, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
And next time I have you on, we got to have Jackie come on.
I will. I'm going to tell her.
Yes.
All right. Thanks. Have a great
Lori
week.
Riley, the superintendent, I was going to say the director of something, superintendent of the Conneaut Area City Schools, my guest on Around the Town with Chuck.